And a very happy Friday to you at 12:08 in the West. It's the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang's across the glass.
From the, of course, it's Oakland file, John. A bunch of Oaklanders want to get rid of the flock cameras for privacy concerns and worries that the cops could turn that information over to ICE. One Oaklander explained why we need the flock cameras.
We have over 30 cars that are stolen each and every day in Oakland. That number is actually reduced dramatically from what it was before.
What was it before? But even with the cameras, think about that. Today, 30 cars will be stolen in the city of Oakland.
So they don't want the cameras there out of privacy concerns because they think it'll lead to deportations, correct?
That is what some people are saying.
Okay, how about this? Let me give you the flip side of that coin. If you keep the cameras there, it could be an invasion of privacy and lead to Coldplay concert problems.
You think about this statistic?
We have over 30 cars that are stolen each and every day in Oakland.
That's more than one an hour, which means by 1 o'clock, another car will have been stolen in Oakland.
It's really unbelievable that any of us can buy car insurance.
Okay, if 30 cars a day are stolen in Oakland, and there's, let's just say, 365 days a year, that's 10,950 stolen cars in Oakland every year, and that's with the flock cameras.
How long will it be before there's not a single Kia left in this state?
I think the Kias are long gone. They're not stealing everything else. But I can't get past this. 30 cars a day get stolen in Oakland, and Oakland's not that big of a city.
I'm surprised they haven't started stealing the BART trains yet.
Just give them time.
Can they run one of those through the wall of a 7-Eleven?
Don't give them any ideas.
It's a possibility. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Well, we've told you that California Governor Gavin Newsom wants to talk about anything and everything that's not under the umbrella of being governor of California. He doesn't care that the bullet train is a failure. He doesn't care that none of us can buy insurance. He doesn't care that that many cars are being stolen in Oakland or that homeless people are living on the streets. All he wants to talk about is Donald Trump, the makeup of Congress, the makeup of the Supreme Court, federal issues, and, of course, himself, because he fancies himself a president. It appears as if all of the candidates who are running to replace him are taking his lead. All they want to talk about are federal issues and federal politics. There is one notable exception on the Democratic side of the aisle here in the state of California. I'm, of course, speaking of the mayor of San Jose, Matt Mahan, who is pulling his hair out because he cannot believe that all of these other fools are spending all of their time on federal issues while Rome burns. And, Randy, he's going on a media tour.
He is. He wrote an op-ed saying that Gavin Newsom should spend more time fixing California than trolling people on Twitter. And he spoke with KTLA in Los Angeles about that. Here is that interview.
Governor Newsom, who has cast himself as a foil to President Trump, continues to see his national profile rise.
He is getting rewarded for this.
Oh, he is, which means everyone else on planet Earth is going to learn all the wrong lessons.
A new poll from McLaughlin and Associates has the California Democrat doubling his support among Democratic primary voters from 9% in July to 18% now.
You're encouraging him.
You know who this speaks ill of is Kamala, because they just spent over $1 billion promoting her nationwide. She was the Democratic nominee, and they dropped her like a sack of dirt.
She also hasn't done a damn thing since she lost that election. She's written a book. She's going on a book tour, but the world moves fast and attention spans are short. people have forgotten all about Kamala.
We are clear and have been clear.
Gavin is doing his best to be in the news every day, and apparently he's getting rewarded for it.
Who do you think actually wrote her book? My guess is whoever wrote Oprah's.
I'm going to guess ChatGPT.
Though Newsom does still trail former Vice President Kamala Harris.
As the governor grows his support and his online footprint, not all Democrats are satisfied. That would include San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan, who this week penned an op-ed in the San Francisco Standard. How about less time breaking the internet and more time fixing California?
This is a mayor who actually talks to business, who brings in technology. He's honestly everything that Gavin Newsom said he was when he ran for mayor of San Francisco, and he wrote that book, Citizenville, about adding technology to government. You know, San Jose is about to be the first city in California where you can take a Waymo to the airport.
I wonder how long it'll be before Gavin starts going after him, because he still has Izzy in the stable, and the kitty likes to scratch.
San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan joins us now live with more. Sir, thanks for being with us. Let's talk about first the thesis of your piece. You start by praising California's successes, but say that maintaining our success requires a, quote, relentless focus on the facts in the real world, not a blind leap into meme land.
That's right. Well, thanks for having me on. And look, contrary to what some folks might think, I'm not trying to pick a fight with the governor here. I appreciate when he stands up to the federal administration on substantive issues that affect Californians' daily lives. But when that bleeds over into attacking employers who have raised very legitimate concerns about our business environment, the cost of doing business here, public safety and homelessness issues, I don't think we should shoot the messenger. I think we should take the feedback and acknowledge that we have very real problems we need to solve in California.
You have to resist the temptation to make fun of Bed Bath & Beyond.
Okay, what he said is not entirely accurate, because he was willing to go toe-to-toe with Newsom over Prop 36, and Newsom took some shots at him when he did that.
And Newsom lost that argument.
He
very
did.
real problems we need to solve in California. We have the highest unemployment rate, the highest effective poverty rate, because we have the most expensive housing and energy. We're home to nearly
Wait, I never hear Gavin talk about any of this.
No, because he doesn't care.
and energy. We're home to nearly half of the unsheltered homeless population.
By the way, it's something that is going to be the next big crisis in California. Energy costs are already skyrocketing, and because we have focused California as the AI capital, they're going to need to build data centers everywhere, and the data centers are going to skyrocket the cost of electricity.
Yes, and their answer won't be, we're going to produce more energy. Their answer is going to be, well, just leave your thermostat at 80, so all of us feel like we're going through menopause.
So while I don't mean to, I'm not trying to police online civility here. I think it's really important that we reward our politicians for delivering results in the real world. And I would say
it'd be really nice if that's how the world worked.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
You move forward because you have a track record of success with your existing job. It's how it works in every other industry except politics.
And radio.
Well, there is that.
And I would suggest starting by implementing Prop 36, which was supported in every single county across the state. But
even Alameda County voted for Prop 36.
Every single one, all of California's counties.
But there's no money to build out the treatment we need to get people the help they need when they're repeatedly stealing from local businesses. So I think we need to focus more on action and impact for our residents than trolling Donald Trump.
Have you heard from Governor Gavin Newsom or his team since your op-ed came out?
Well, we've been talking to his team about addressing homelessness, and I appreciate the effort they're making to clear our freeways. I have to admit, the implementation has been slow. I think there's a...
You mean how we're 7 years into this thing, and just now Gavin's putting together a task force where Caltrans doesn't just block the cities from cleaning up the homeless under the freeways. The cities can clean them up and then bill Caltrans.
And here's what happens, and this is quintessential Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom is willing to go after Trump publicly because that's the new presentation. That's what made him popular nationally. So in that respect, he is willing to have the public fight with Donald Trump because every time he hits the piñata, candy comes out. However, with everyone else, he does it in private and he does it passive-aggressively. For example, when we had Trace Gallagher on this program, who hosts a show on the Fox News channel at night, he said that Gavin Newsom and his office calls Fox News demanding retractions on a daily basis. They watch that show every single night, and they sit there and stew, and every time his name comes up, if it's unflattering, which it always is because he's Gavin Newsom, they call and demand a retraction. I know that Gavin Newsom despises the fake doctor. Not because the fake doctor is doing anything that he finds to be over the line.
Yeah.
He just doesn't like the fact that she attracts so much national negative attention, and some of that stink sticks on him.
Next slide.
So he will call people at the county level, and he'll complain about her and grumble about her and suggest that they should get rid of her, but he won't publicly say it's time for her to go.
No, thank you.
And my guess is with Matt Mahan, he doesn't want to pick a fight publicly because he doesn't want it to look like the Democrats are in disarray with his strategy. So what he's going to do is he's going to be passive-aggressive privately. And I think that's what Mahan is alluding to.
Slow. I think there's a simpler approach here, which is we should simply ban camping on our freeways. I don't think it's that hard. We have a lot of requirements around, you've got to have a shelter bed for every person there. I would just suggest that we say freeways are not places where people should be living. They're really unsafe. And if we can...
How is this guy the outlier in politics?
I'm telling you, he's going to be excommunicated from the Democratic Party.
And if we can just have CHP enforce no encampment zones strictly along our freeways.
You mean like where people like to start fires, like the one that might have melted the 10 freeway that we still don't have a reason for?
This shows you how far gone this state is right now. We're saying you shouldn't play in traffic is something that's right-wing propaganda.
Then we can work to hold every city and county accountable for building the shelter and treatment beds we need to offer people an alternative. So I appreciate the governor's at his best when he is out in the field talking to real Californians, proposing solutions.
I mean, like he's wearing the T-shirt and he's cleaning up homeless encampments. And even though he won't blast someone like Sheng Tao when she was mayor of Oakland, he'll bring her to an encampment cleanup and make her clean up you know what?
Feces everywhere. No compassion.
Oh, she didn't like that.
He used to do that with Garcetti, too.
He definitely didn't like that.
To crime, homelessness, cost of living. I appreciate his vote on CEQA. He's done some really good things. But what concerns me is that more and more of us have sort of decoupled. We're rewarding people for how loud they are online without holding them accountable to delivering tangible results in our daily lives. This doesn't end well for our country.
It is so odd to me how you don't hear anybody say that.
No, there is definitely a lane for a Democrat in California to make this argument. None of them do. He is the only one who's doing it. And we'll see what happens. My guess is the Democratic Party is going to try to kill his career. Whether or not he can overcome that remains to be seen. But the party machine, the party establishment is irritated with him because they don't agree with him.
There is a powerful line in your piece, quote, "We, San Jose, and every California city would be doing better if Sacramento was doing more." So what more would you like to see?
I would start with implementing Prop 36. This was on the ballot last November. It was the most widely supported measure in the state. It passed with nearly 70% support.
And that'll show you what Sacramento thinks of Californians, the people they claim to represent. This was a mandate if there ever was one, and they barely put anything towards it.
It's just like the death penalty. We voted to reaffirm our support for the death penalty, and what was the first thing that Newsom did? He got rid of the death penalty.
It passed in every county in the state, and what it said was something very common sense. If you are repeatedly committing crime due to an underlying behavioral health issue, addiction, we should give a judge the ability to mandate treatment with a threat of jail time if you refuse to engage in treatment. And the implementation of the policy...
You notice how Matt Mahan directly answers questions?
Oh, he's so much easier to understand than Gavin Newsom.
Not happened because...
He's also not saying I'm focused on or dodging the way a Karen Bass would or a Barbara Lee would.
No.
Not happened because Sacramento in this year's budget decided to only allocate $100 million statewide to its implementation. We need thousands of treatment beds. We need to bring back mental health institutions. We need to have compassionate places to rehabilitate people who are suffering from addiction and mental illness, and reject this false choice we've been given between returning to the era of mass incarceration and just locking everybody up on the one hand, which judges aren't willing to do anyway, and on the other hand, leaving people out on our streets repeatedly using drugs in public, engaging in petty theft and vandalism, and saying, well, we just have to live with it. There's a middle path here, which is build treatment, and when it's available, require that people use it if they're repeatedly committing crime.
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Eric the mailman writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. Hey, cool John and hot Randy. I just figured out why the entire BART system was down this morning. Someone absolutely stole the wiring from the Coliseum BART that powers the entire system. There should be a 30 for 30 done on this city and the people who occupy it.
Absolutely.
Don't they realize that if there's no wiring, the train doesn't run?
This is what happens constantly, whether it's Metro, whether it's BART, whether it's Caltrain. Copper wire theft means you do not have your public transit.
Well, even the DMV, which does the administrative paperwork for transportation in California, that got shut down.
In Oakland, earlier this year, someone ripped out the copper wiring of the air conditioning unit at the DMV. The DMV flooded, and I believe it's still closed.
Well, it looked like the lost city of Atlantis. And Randy, even though we're here live today, there will be no live shows tomorrow or Sunday. But if you want to continue listening to us, that's easy to do.
All you got to do is search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get podcasts. That's like a radio show, except you play it on your phone. Search for The John Phillips Show on Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Spotify. Just put that name in. You'll see it pop up. Hit subscribe. You can download all the episodes. Some of these apps let you share them with your friends, with your family, with your Facebook group, so you can do that as well. You can do a Google on the YouTube. All the episodes go there. You can get one of our apps. There's the KABC app in Southern California, the KSFO app for Northern California, and the KMJ Now app because we're on the Central Valley on KMJ 580 on the AM dial every Saturday at 2. So you can listen to us there as well. So many different ways, if it's a Saturday or Sunday, for you to pretend like it's Tuesday,
Wednesday, and Thursday.
In the meantime, what do you say we make a couple of listeners very happy?
Well, let's do that right now, as soon as I double check that we're doing this today. Yes, we are. 790 KABC welcomes Disney's Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, live in concert at the Hollywood Bowl on October 25th. Tickets are on sale Friday at Ticketmaster.com, but right now, caller number 9 at 1-888-790-5222 gets a pair of tickets to the show. Tickets furnished by Live Nation. Good luck dialing. And yes, I just realized that I said tickets are on sale Friday, and it is Friday. It's the same damn copy. Tickets are on sale now.
And Randy, you and I are going on the road.
All right, it's time for a big announcement, everybody. The John Phillips Show is going back to Sherman Oaks, the scene of all those crimes lately. We're going back to the Pineapple Hill in Sherman Oaks Friday, September 19th. That is 2 weeks from today, from noon to 3. It's going to be a live broadcast of the show. Pineapple Hill has a great seating area out there, lots of parking because it's the Valley, great food, even better drinks. We'll have special guests like Susan Shelley from the Howard Jarvis Taxpayer Association. Because the courts have made it easier to raise your taxes, come by and sign the petition to save Prop 13. We're going to be there from noon to 3, so you should come down as well. The John Phillips Show, live at Pineapple Hill in Sherman Oaks, Friday, September 19th.
And if it's upside-down pineapples that you're into, just bring the rotisserie with you. There's room for everyone.
I wonder how many people that listen to this show get that joke.
Well, the ones that go on cruise ships do. That I can tell you.
Isn't that your prank move?
Yes.
Where you put a sticker of an upside-down pineapple on somebody's door?
If you travel with me, let me just give you a word of warning right now. I get bored very easily, so to kill the boredom, I will torture you. And part of that torture on a cruise ship, if you travel with me on a cruise ship, is if I know you're going to be away from your room for a long period of time, when you come back to your room, there will be 900 upside-down pineapples on your door.
And if you don't know what that means, look it up. This is a family show.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. All right, let's get back to the sound of San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan on KTLA.
Matt Mahan writes an op-ed, and he's doing a media tour because he'd like Gavin Newsom to focus a little more on funding Prop 36 than trolling the president on Twitter.
Well, you've called the current amount of funding $100 million a joke. Any sense from your discussions that more funding will be coming?
Not yet. I think it's really up to Californians to make clear to their elected officials that we expect the state to follow through on the mandate they've been given from the passage of Prop.
It's such a weird thing, too, because there was that giant push for Prop 1, which Gavin said was going to reform the Mental Health Services Act and build all these treatment beds. But then when we need treatment beds for all the people that are addicted to drugs on the streets, we don't have any money for that.
What's crazy is he makes so much common sense on these subjects, but you look at the people that San Jose sends to the state legislature, and they're among the biggest nuts.
36, over 10 million Californians voted for it. We need to send a clear message to our representatives in Sacramento that we expect them to properly implement Prop 36 by doing something that, frankly, shouldn't require a statewide.
So close.
Halfway there.
He doesn't do it. He doesn't do any of the ticks that I've listened to a lot of Mahan lately. No ticks yet.
By doing something that, frankly, shouldn't require a statewide ballot measure. This is long overdue. We are, as our state leaders love to remind us, the fourth largest economy in the world, trillions in GDP, $300 billion state budget. We can find $1 billion to rebuild our mental health system, build out treatment.
We should be able to afford at least one loony bin.
We pass bonds all of the time in this state for eye-popping amounts, and the money just gets frittered away. It gets wasted. Here's something we actually need, and the answer is, oh, no, we can't afford that. We can't spend that money.
And enable judges to mandate treatment when people's addiction is so severe that they're a risk to themselves and they're harming the broader community. This shouldn't be hard. We just need to hold ourselves accountable for doing it.
Yeah. San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan, good of you to take the time. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you.
What do you think it was like for the residents of Los Angeles under the mayorship of Karen Bass and before that Eric Garcetti to watch on local KTLA 5 television that mayor?
Well, it makes you want to cry. However, the question becomes, when he leaves office in San Jose, A, will he move on to higher office? Because we don't have many people here like him. So if we have an opportunity to make this guy the governor or this guy the treasurer or some important position, we should take him up on it. But who comes after him in San Jose? Was it a one-off where maybe they liked his personality, they disagreed with his politics, but they liked him personally, and then they replace him with someone who is part of the problem? Or do they replace him with someone like him, and does San Jose become the model for the rest of the state?
Well, you look at what happened in San Jose, and it seems that San Francisco is now doing a very similar thing. So, to use a Gavinism, success leaves clues.
Right now, we have an update for you on that investigation from the federal government, which determined that from their point of view, Southern California Edison is responsible for starting the Eaton fire.
New video has emerged that really makes it look very clear that the federal government's going to win that $40 million lawsuit that's not going to do anything to change SoCal Edison's behavior. And as much as Asaley wants to say they can't pass that cost on to ratepayers, they will.
Because that's what they do.
That's what they did for the Woolsey fire. That's what they did for the Signal fire. And that's what they'll do for this fire.
Where the hell, by the way, is the California Public Utilities Commission? They have the power of God over these companies. If they wanted to make it so that they couldn't pass on those fees or those costs to ratepayers, they could make it happen instantly. Why isn't Gavin screaming and yelling?
Well, because that board is made up of Gavin appointees that are mostly former executives from PG&E and SoCal Edison and San Diego Gas and Electric, and they all have been very big donors to most of Sacramento.
And if the federal government says that Southern California Edison started the fire, from their point of view, that means Donald Trump said that SoCal Edison started the fire. And because they all have Trump derangement syndrome and they're reflexively opposed to anything that Trump says, then I don't know if they're going to defend Edison or they're going to defend the CPUC. I don't know what they're going to do, but they certainly don't seem to want to start demanding answers.
For more, here's ABC 7 Eyewitness News in Los Angeles.
Federal prosecutors now suing Southern California Edison, saying that its negligence caused the devastating Eaton fire.
For more, we go to Eyewitness News reporter Josh Haskell live in Pasadena, where the fire is believed to have started with new images that back up the lawsuit. Josh.
And the images that we are about to show you were taken on January 7th in the evening. The exact view you're seeing right now over my shoulder of a transmission tower.
This is what one of the big differences between Eaton and the Palisades fire. So many different people have video and photos of like right where this thing started. And even SoCal Edison in an SCE filing admitted, yeah, it was probably us.
We still don't know what started the Palisades fire.
And we might never ever find out. Although Asaley was asked about it, and he was very much like, I can't talk about Palisades, open investigation, can't do anything about this. Something's going on there.
You think?
My shoulder of a transmission tower. One of the towers is...
Asaley also, I have to correct him. You're a big official now. You're saying things with a lot of authority. Stop calling Altadena a city. It's not a city. It's unincorporated LA County.
He didn't represent that district.
My shoulder of a transmission tower. One of the towers is gone. One of them is still here. Those who live in this neighborhood say they have known from the very beginning what caused the Eaton fire. Although the investigation into the cause of the Eaton fire is still underway, never-before-seen photos and videos obtained by Eyewitness News backs up the leading theory that the fire started under Southern California Edison transmission lines in the hills above Pasadena next to Altadena. The Department of Justice says they're so sure SCE is responsible that they filed a lawsuit Thursday seeking damages.
Based on the Asaley said, we're so sure that we're not even going to wait for the investigation to finish.
Well, they have how many videos at this point?
Based on the evidence that we have and Edison's own statements in its recent SEC filing that there's no other apparent cause for the fire, we're confident and we are comfortable.
Because you know if there was a homeless encampment there, Edison would be the first person to tell you about it.
I'm sure Edison has looked at more videos than anyone else involved in this process.
It also wasn't a great move for Edison to a few weeks ago announce that they were going to open a wildfire victims fund and they were going to pay out the victims if they promised to sign something saying they weren't going to sue.
Not a good look.
How many takers do you think they've had for that?
0.
We're confident and we are comfortable moving forward with the lawsuit at this point.
We saw what happened with our own eyes. And we're not the only ones. If that tower had been properly, removed when it should have been, and I don't know how much it would have cost to do it at that time, but it would have been a hell of a lot cheaper than what happened.
It's clearly under a tower. So, yeah, that seems like a pretty big indication to me.
4 months after the Eden fire, 2 towers, part of the investigation, were removed via helicopter, sent to a warehouse to undergo lab testing. The lawsuit seeks more than $40 million in damages, and the federal government says they'll make sure, if successful, costs aren't passed on to ratepayers.
How?
The utilities always find a way to pass it on to us. They do. Look at what's going on right now already with insurance premiums. Because the premium payouts in the fire areas have been so humongous, they're raising the rates across the board on everyone.
The DOJ filed another lawsuit against SCE for starting the Fairview fire in Hemet back in 2022.
Fire season's coming up again. We want Edison to change the way it does business. It does not maintain.
It's not going to.
No, and it's ultimately the state that has to force them to do it because they have the regulatory power to do so. And Newsom will not do it. The CPUC will not do it. At a certain point, this should be one of the top issues in the gubernatorial election because the governor has the power to appoint to that commission. And if this is just one of the subjects that gets swept under the rug so we can talk about what they think about Donald Trump's deportation plan, then the people of California are going to end up with another governor who doesn't care.
It's infrastructure in a way to prevent fires.
In a statement, Southern California Edison said in part, "We continue our work to reduce the likelihood of our equipment starting a wildfire
by shutting everyone's power off anytime it gets windy, except for the time where it was windier than it's ever been, and then we forgot to shut off the power.
They shut it off all the time, and they still start fires."
SCE is committed to wildfire mitigation.
Do you know that undergrounding power lines eliminates wildfire risk by 97%?
In my neighborhood, the power lines are underground. And not only does that reduce the fire risk, but instead of seeing ugly power lines everywhere, you see mountains and blue skies.
Maybe SoCal Edison needs the deal that the CPUC wrote for PG&E. PG&E, anytime they do an undergrounding or any capital improvement project, they get a guaranteed rate of return on investment so they can jack up the rate 6 times in a year.